All right. Canelo Alvarez versus Sergey Kovalev have a lot of people talking about fixed fights. I have my viewpoint on it, a little different than many other people's, but this is not just an isolated conspiracy theory. These are professional boxers saying this, and a lot of people who are very familiar with the sport of boxing. Let's talk about this scandal in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please accept my invitation and hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you nothing. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos and when we can talk about this boxing. Thank you so much to my two communities that support the channel, the live stream community and the Patreon community. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for your support. Definitely be there for OG Boxing Talk on Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time with myself, my co-host Blood Boxing, Kurt Anderson, Trap House Boxing, and KQKC Boxing. We had about 6,000 people in the room last Sunday, and it was just an awesome show after the Canelo Alvarez fight. I think you guys will enjoy it. You can go check it on our archive if you missed it. All right, man. So look, here's the thing. We ain't not afraid of talking about things that people don't like to hear on this channel, okay? And there are a lot of people that believe that the Canelo Alvarez versus Sergey Kovalev fight was fixed. And there's a lot of different reasons that people attribute to it. And I'm going to tell you, man, here's my thought on it. There's a lot of ways to fix a fight. And the fighter does not have to take a dive for a fight to be fixed, okay? You can do it multiple ways. You can do it through the referee. You can do it through the referees. You can do it through the judges. You can do it through contractual means. And I'll explain that. But first, let me tell you why most people are saying that they believe this fight was a fixed fight. Now, the people who said that the fight looked fixed or almost fixed were former 168-pound champion 168. I think his title was a 168. Badu Jack. Also, a former contender at 135 pounds, Hank Lundy. And just many people through the Twitter community, through the through the YouTube community. You see a lot of comments about that. And so it's not something that one or two isolated people are saying. These are reasonable people that have watched boxing for a long time and understand the sport of boxing. Now, the reasons that people are given for it are that Kovalev, and that I've seen, is one, that Kovalev never in that fight ever sat down on his punches. It looked like he was trying not to hurt Kovalev, trying not to sit on his punches. Now, he had a lot of jabs going on, a lot of light, faint right hands. Every once in a while, he would throw something hard to the body, but it just didn't really seem like Kovalev was, really being very assertive in the fight at all. Now, there's reasons why that could be about, not wanting to get countered by Canelo. Canelo is an excellent counter puncher, not wanting to get punished, but I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. So let me go through the reasons that other people have for it. And then I want to tell you what my thoughts are. They also had people say, that the temple shot that knocked him out didn't really look like it landed. It didn't look like the type of shot that was going to cause the type of damage that it inflicted on Sergey Kovalev. It was a good shot. It was a shot that was towards the temple, but Canelo, people that believe that he took a dive said that knockdown looked real funny. Now, leading into that, though, we saw a couple other punches in that fight card that looked funny. When Evan Holyfield knocked out whoever the guy was he fought, it looked like the stoppage was a little premature. It didn't really look like the shot had enough on it to do that type of damage to the fighter, and he went down. Okay, but it is what it is. That was the first one. The second one was Ryan Garcia's knockout of Bruno. Now, it was, I mean, these were grazing punches that knocked out Duno. I think I said Duno. They didn't look like just a clean flush, turn your head type of shot where the guy goes down, similar to like a Deontay Wilder shot, where you see somebody that really gets his chin moved from here to here. You can clearly see, his face get, you can see him lose consciousness. All of these fights were kind of delayed, knock, but those things happen in boxing. They really do. So I can't say that I thought that the punch landed on Kovalev, and that just made me believe that fight was fixed because of that shot. It very well could have been that punch landed like it was supposed to land, like he intended it to land. But there are a lot of people that doubt that. Here's my thing, man. This is why I say that I believe that this fight was prearranged. Okay? Prearranged. And it is in these two factors. Number one, you cannot ignore the fact that that Canelo Alvarez was juiced to the gills. Okay? You can't ignore that. Some things you do not need a test for. Because the reason that first of all, let me say this about he did not test positive stuff. There are a lot of fighters that don't test positive. There are things called microdosing. There are people, when you have enough money, you can find something that's not illegal, that's not on VADA's drug test, on VADA's list yet. And even though it might not have been determined to be a performance enhancing on the list and banned at the time, it still has the same function as the other things that are banned. A perfect example of that is Meldonium, that Alexander Povetkin tested positive for and Maria Sharapova tested positive for, and they had been taking for years before it was banned. But they were on, without a doubt, performance enhancing drugs. So you don't have to be on a ban. You can pass a test and still be doping. Now people will say, well, what's fair? It's not illegal, so he didn't break the rules. No, he didn't break the rules. He didn't break the letter of the law. He broke the spirit of the law. And I'm talking about the people that actually tested positive for it, Maria Sharapova and Alexander Povetkin. Also, Lance Armstrong tested clean for years and years and years and years, and he's probably the most tested athlete in history. I don't have to look at Canelo Alvarez and wait around. I don't look at him and then wait around for his testing to come out, for him to fail a test. I can look at him. The guy walked in the ring. He's fighting Sergey Kovalev, who's a career 175 pounder, could probably fight at cruiserweight, and he was the bigger man. He wasn't the taller man. He was the bigger man. He was the bigger, stronger man walking down somebody that should, if everything was natural, outweigh him by 25, 30 pounds. But that wasn't the case. Canelo Alvarez was the bigger, stronger, thicker, stronger man in that fight. But it wasn't just because of my suspicions of the use of performance-enhancing drugs with Canelo, which, by the way, Canelo Alvarez has tested positive for. It was also the rehydration clause that Canelo Alvarez put into the contract. How can you fight for a 175-pound title and insist that you put rules that disallow somebody from rehydrating? The whole purpose, by the way, that people say of having day before weigh-ins is so that people have the ability to rehydrate, so that they don't get into the ring in a weakened state. But yet he puts a rehabilitation clause in there, which basically does the same thing. It made Sergey Kovalev starve himself out for another 24 hours, while Canelo Alvarez can eat and do whatever he wants to do. And this guy, Canelo Alvarez and Sergey Kovalev, is the champion. So for me, you take the combination of the two things. One is Canelo Alvarez clearly being on performance-enhancing drugs. And if anybody tells me that you think he's not, I don't care what you think. I don't even respect your opinion. That is dead obvious. The man walked into that ring about 185 pounds with dang near about 10% body fat. The dude was ripped, the dude had bulging veins after he rehydrated to 185 pounds with a pronounced six-pack abs. Come on, man. This guy just fought at 160 pounds. He would have had to put on 20 pounds of muscle to do that. Come on, man. This dude is on performance-enhancing drugs. You take that along with the fact that he dehydrated the guy that he's fighting, and you see why DAZN would do what they did. Allow Canelo Alvarez to walk into the ring last, as if he's the champion, and announce that he was the winner of the fight before the fight ever started, with the acknowledging his equaling of the record of the great Henry Armstrong that he did tonight. They put that advertisement up before the fight. Before the fight, not after the fight as some offhanded observation, but they put it up before the fight until tonight. They predicted the out. They were so blatant with it that they told you he was going to win before the fight started. But yet people are out here in the boxing conversation land acting as if people are crazy to think the fight was fixed. Guess what, people? You cannot complain about corruption in boxing and say that fights that judges are rigging fights and and people are getting robbed on one hand. But then when somebody says a fight was fixed, you act like they're crazy. Which one is it? Because if somebody robbed a fight, you robbing somebody on the scorecards is fixing a fight. If you buy the judges, you pay off the judges, and the judges are giving the promoters and the fighters the outcome that they want. That's a fixed fight. Why would you think that somebody wouldn't throw a fight? Either by accepting ridiculous terms that they didn't, they probably had to get the money, or not really committing to punches or trying to win, flopping or whatever. And we've seen flops. We've seen these things take place in fights before many, many, many times. It's not unheard of. Anyway, it is what it is. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.